Welcome to Wildly Capable with Kate, a podcast made for those looking to unleash their wildest capabilities. I'm your host, Kate DeRocher, a dating, relationship, and self-worth coach on a mission to help people build better relationships, starting with the one they have with themselves. In each episode, we'll dig deep, turn inwards, and embark on a transformative journey. Together, we'll break free from unhealthy patterns, rip through self-limiting beliefs, heal past wounds, and build unwavering self-worth, all to create healthier relationships as a result. Get ready to explore the wild, untapped potential within you. Are you ready to see just how wildly capable you are? Subscribe now and join us on this empowering adventure. Remember, your wildest capabilities await. Today, we're going to be talking about red flags in dating that you cannot ignore and why. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate, and this is Wildly Capable with Kate. Thank you so much for tuning in. I created this podcast to help you all find true, healthy, lasting love through inner healing. So I want you to build better relationships, but I want you to start first with the relationship that you have with yourself. And today, we're going to talk about red flags and why you may be overlooking them and why you may be attracting them and what you can do to become aware of them and not allow these sorts of behaviors in your next partner. To not even date people who have these sorts of behaviors. And I'm saying behavior because it's really important for you to understand that I'm not just talking about maybe one-off traits or blips in time that somebody portrays. I'm talking about behaviors, patterns, who somebody is at their core. That is the type of red flag that you need to be paying attention to. Not somebody just making a mistake or being imperfect, but an actual reoccurring behavior. Before I get into what the red flags are, I want to let you all know that I'm currently taking on new coaching clients. I work with people one-on-one with my full coaching program. I have 3 different programs on my website that you can choose from. And I also do breakthrough sessions. Breakthrough sessions are a 2-hour call where we dive deep into everything that you're struggling with and come up with a game plan to help you conquer them once the call is over. If you are repeating the same patterns, if you are attracting the same sorts of red flags, if you keep getting your heart broken, if you feel just discouraged and hopeless with love and dating and relationships, my coaching is for you. I created all of my programs. I became a coach out of my own life experience. And by that, I mean my own difficult dating experiences. I went through heartbreak after heartbreak, setback after setback, discouragement after discouragement. I had a really hard time in dating. But good news is that today I am engaged. So the lessons I learned along the way, the healing that I had to experience, the things that I shed and things that I stepped into helped me get to the place where I wanted to go, which was to have a lasting, healthy partnership. And I want to help you do the exact same thing. I want you to turn inwards so you can figure out what role you're playing in your own relationships to heal them and attract healthier matches for you. If you are interested in coaching, if this sounds like something that you need, if you're even listening to this podcast, and chances are it is something you need, then head to my website, coachkatederocher.com, fill out my coaching application, and then I will reach out to you to set up a call if we're a fit. I'm here to guide you every step of the way, so I can't wait to meet you. Okay, first, let's talk about what the difference is between red flags and behaviors. What I want you to pay attention to is behaviors. And behaviors are a consistent action or pattern that somebody does over and over. It's a part of their character. It's a part of who they are at their core. It's something that they haven't become aware of or addressed, or they are not willing to hold themselves accountable for. It is something that is on repeat that can be very damaging to themselves and to you. Behaviors are ongoing and they provide a clear picture into somebody's character, values, emotional maturity, awareness, and level of healing. Now, these behaviors can be anything from how somebody handles conflict, how somebody communicates, how somebody respects boundaries. There's so many different behaviors you can see within somebody that you will start to see as you get to know them. So table that. That is what behaviors are. What red flags are more so these inconsistent moments of weakness or falling short that somebody may do when you get to know them or when you're dating them. And if you ask me, the term red flag is something that we throw around too easily, and it gives us an excuse to just go from relationship to relationship when things aren't perfect. But if you know me, you know that I talk a ton about how no relationship will ever be perfect. Every relationship will have its red flags. Every person will have its red flags. People are flawed. They are nuanced. It is part of the human experience. And if you are going to be in a lasting partnership, you will have to accept somebody for those parts of themselves too. But that's the difference between like a flaw, a red flag, and an actual behavior. If it's something that they are completely unaware of or unwilling to work through, or even they do it in a malicious way, that's a behavior. That's something that you should pay attention to. If it's just a shortcoming, a mistake, a miscommunication, that's more so a red flag, and that's something that can be easily addressed. But at the same time, red flags, even though they are more often isolated single events or occurrences, they can point to something deeper. So I do want you to kind of like pay attention when you see a red flag, but I don't want every single red flag to be a deal breaker, because then you're never going to find anybody, because everybody is going to fall short. Everybody is going to have limitations and flaws that you're going to have to learn to work with. So that is the difference between red flags and behaviors. When I talk about red flags in this episode, I am talking more so about the deep-seated behaviors that somebody portrays that may most likely be unhealthy for you and that relationship. And that's something that you need to really evaluate, have hard conversations about, or avoid, get yourself out of that situation completely. So why am I emphasizing the difference between red flags and behaviors so much? Why should you pay more attention to behaviors over red flags? Well, on top of everything I just said, behaviors signal somebody's values. If somebody, for example, is very inconsistent with their communication, they text you on a Monday and you don't hear back from them until Thursday, or they're very short in the way that they talk, or they just are not very clear when they do communicate with you, that signals to you where that person's value lies when it comes to communication. It means that communication is not in their list of top 5 values or top 10 values, maybe even top 15. That's something that's pretty low on their totem pole and that they need to be working on, that they're either not aware of or not willing to improve, or they don't see the problem with it. But it points to their values. It points to what is important to them. And you have to be in a relationship with somebody who, at the bare minimum, understands and respects your values. Your values don't have to be 100% completely perfectly aligned. And in fact, I don't think oftentimes they are, but there needs to be a mutual respect and understanding and like holding space for each other's values. So if your values are completely mismatched, if communication is number 1 for you and communication is number 30 for him, chances are that's not going to work out. So behaviors can show you somebody's values without them even telling you what their values are. You can pay attention and see who somebody is just based on how they show up, on how they behave, on how they act. Behaviors show values. So that's another reason why you should be paying such close attention to these behaviors. Behaviors are also patterns that show how somebody regularly operates. Red flags can just be one-offs, or they can be blips, or they can be mishaps and mistakes, miscommunications. But behaviors is how somebody acts, shows up, reacts, thinks, processes consistently over and over. It's more so who they are as a person. And if you see that somebody has that behavior, then you know that the red flag wasn't just a one-off incident. It is signaling something deeper and a broader issue. And the last reason for why I'm harping so much on behaviors is that red flags can be easily overlooked or missed, but behaviors, since they are repeated, they are cyclical, you will actually see them more readily. So you can pay more attention to them. So don't get so stuck on, if he said this way or he did that, it's a red flag. Pay more attention to what are they showing me consistently over time. Ultimately, paying attention to both red flags and deeper behaviors is essential when you're getting to know somebody or in a relationship, but it is behaviors that will show you the true essence of what's going on underneath those red flags. Behaviors are a long-term view of how somebody is likely going to show up in the relationship, in the future, or when you actually commit to them. So pay attention to both, but definitely be more aware of behaviors. So what are the red flags, behaviors that I want you to be paying attention to when it comes to dating? These that I'm going to talk about especially pertain to the early stages of dating. I'm not so much talking about when you're in a committed relationship. I'm more so talking about when you're going on a few dates, you're starting to get to know them, you're deciding if there's somebody who you could see some sort of relationship in future with. Those are more so the types of circumstances that these red flags, that these behaviors apply to. The first one is inconsistent communication. One day they are very attentive, they're texting you a lot, they're calling, they're FaceTiming, they're checking in, they're sending you videos, memes, TikToks, whatever. And then the next, it's pretty much radio silence. They just disappear. But then they come back 4 days later, a week later, and the cycle repeats. If somebody is doing this, it can signal a lot of deeper things. It can be the beginning of like love bombing and a trauma bond, where somebody's getting you hooked on the high of them being there, and then they take it away, so you crave it and then you want it again. So it creates like an actual addiction. That's something that you see in abusive relationships, in trauma bonds, in codependent relationships, unhealthy situations. But even if it's not something to that extreme, it's still not going to be healthy for you. Having consistency one day and then complete inconsistency or like radio silence the next day, it's going to leave you feeling confused and unsure of where things stand, or not knowing how that person feels about you. You're going to be stuck on this loop of, oh my gosh, they are interested, and then no, they're not, to they are, over and over again. And that's a high and a low that is not healthy for anybody. Our brain should not be receiving that sort of dopamine hit followed by such a low over and over. Like I said, that's how addictions form, and it's just not healthy for your well-being or your mental health. So inconsistent communication, pay attention, see if that is something that they do repeatedly. Number 2 is disrespecting boundaries. They push or break your boundaries early on. I talk extensively about how boundaries are key to a healthy relationship. Whether it's romantic, coworker, friendship, family, boundaries need to be at the center of a relationship. It teaches you how to properly care for somebody, how to treat them with respect, how to do what makes them feel safe, and vice versa. They do it for you. But if the person you're starting to see kind of like pushes your boundary, tests the waters a little bit, tries to get you to do something that normally you would not be okay with, and they frame it as like, oh my gosh, it's just this one time, it's just fun, don't be so serious. If they push your boundaries a little bit, or if they actually break them, that is a big no. Yes, conversations can be had where you explain, hey, this is a boundary, this doesn't work for me, it makes me feel uncomfortable, can you change that in the future? And then give them the chance to change it. But if they do not change it, if they keep pushing the boundary, if they keep breaking the boundary, again, that's when you know it is a behavior. And just like with inconsistent communication, breaking and pushing boundaries can be a sign of something pretty serious and abusive and unhealthy. But regardless of whether it is that serious or not, again, it is still something that you need to be aware of. If you are left feeling kind of like you betrayed yourself, like you went against your own needs, your own desires, your own comforts, really, really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what was that? Is that something that they do, or was it just a mistake that we can talk about? Pay attention, because pushing or breaking boundaries can be extremely, extremely serious and will lead you down a bad road if it's not changed. Number 3 is that they are overly critical or judgmental. If you are in the early stages of dating and somebody is just saying little put downs to you or judging you, even jokingly, or just criticizing you left and right. They don't like the music you listen to. They don't like the way you dress, like the little things like that, whether they like really say it or they just kind of joke about it. It is something to pay attention to, because that can point to a lot of deeper issues, them not being supportive, jealousy, control issues, not wanting you to shine brighter than they do, wanting to hold you down, wanting to make you lose your self-esteem so they can control you more, manipulate you more. There's so many reasons why somebody may be overly critical. When you are in a lasting partnership, it is you and your partner's job to hold one another accountable and to share the things that you're seeing. So a little bit of feedback or criticism, if you want to call it that, is healthy and necessary. But there's a difference between I love you so much, I see how you can grow, and I just want to put you down to cause you to lose your self-worth, to cause you to lose your identity, so I can get you more dependent on me, so I can control you more, so I don't have to worry about you like talking to other people, having your own life, having a career, what have you. So pay attention. If they are jokingly putting you down, if they are directly putting you down, that's something that you should probably address and get out of as quickly as possible. Number 4 is that they rush you into the relationship. So somebody who wants to kind of like bypass the stages of dating, which is normally around like a 2 to 3 month span before you decide if you actually want to commit to a relationship. That's very broad in general. Every relationship is different, but that's what I've seen most often in my own life or in clients' lives or friends' lives too. If they want to bypass that stage of truly getting to know each other, of understanding each other more deeply, of seeing if you actually are a healthy match for each other, seeing if you are aligned, seeing if you can build a healthy foundation. If they just want to skip right past that and get right into a serious, committed relationship with you, maybe even move in with you or invite you on family trips or things like that, that is a big red flag. That could be a signal to a deeper behavior that will lead you into an unhealthy situation. So pay attention to it. Relationships take time to build. I always use this analogy of relationships are like an onion, where you meet somebody and they're on the outside of this onion, they're on the very last layer. And as they get to know you and you get to know them, you slowly see, can I peel back another layer and another layer and another layer? Can I let this person in more closely to me? Can I trust them to be closer to me? Can I trust them with more serious topics or things of my heart? Or should I keep them on this outer layer because they're actually not aligned? It's actually not safe. It's not healthy. If somebody wants to just rush right into the center of that onion, it is definitely a sign of something deeper. It can be their own insecurities, so they want to lock you down. It can be a manipulation tactic to get you hooked on them. So many deeper things can be the root of why somebody will push you to rush into a relationship. So slow down, please slow down, take your time getting to know somebody. And if they won't let you address it, remove yourself from the situation if they don't change it. And last but not least is that they avoid emotional intimacy. They avoid emotional vulnerability or deep conversations or genuinely getting to know one another. Again, it can point to a lot of the things that I just shared with number 4 with rushing you into a relationship. And it can also just point to emotional unavailability within themselves, which means when you have feelings and emotions in the future, they're not going to be able to be available to you. If somebody cannot process and manage their own emotions, they certainly cannot manage yours. Real connection requires openness. It requires you knowing the intricacies of your partner's heart, of their fears, of their insecurities, of their struggles, their traumas, the things they've gone through in their life. To truly know someone is to truly love someone. And if somebody will not give you the opportunity to get to fully know them, it's going to be a very surface level relationship, and you're going to be left feeling like unfulfilled and like you're longing for more. So if somebody is not emotionally available or vulnerable or open, it's something to pay attention to because of all of those reasons. It can lead to difficulties down the line. It can lead to you feeling unfulfilled. So pay attention. Will they have hard conversations with me? Do they share information about themselves? Do they tell me who they are? Do they tell me their fears or their struggles or things that they've gone through? Or do they shut down and clam up the moment that I bring those things up? Just pay attention, put a flag in it, have a conversation about it, ask them if you're making it up in your head or if this is something that they do, if it's something they're aware of. Can it change? And if it can't change, well, know that maybe that's not a person who is healthy and ready for a substantial, meaningful, deep relationship. Not yet, at least. There you have it, everyone. Those are 5 behaviors that I want you to pay attention to in the early stages of dating. I want you to be aware of them. I want you to be reflecting on them. I want you to be processing them, talking about them openly, and then deciding from there if this is a person that you should commit to or not, if this is a safe person who deserves your heart or not. Learn all of these things about somebody before you are even physically intimate with them. I tell people the same thing with slowing down in dating. Slow down in being intimate with somebody. Because if you have sex, if you jump right to the physical aspect of the relationship, you will not see all of these things. And you will get hooked and attached to the relationship, to the person, prematurely before you can see if any of these things exist within them or within the relationship. Slow down. Pay attention. Take note of these things. Do your best to determine if this is a red flag, it's a one-off instance, or if it is something deeper that needs to be addressed or I need to remove myself from. I hope these 5 behaviors are broken down really clearly for you guys. So as you are getting to know somebody, you can just kind of put a pin in each one if you see it, so you can be aware of it. If you have questions, please reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok, preferably Instagram, because it's so much easier to message there. But reach out to me. My handle is at Coach Kate DeRocher. And again, if you want to tackle these things in your own life, if you want to learn how to date better, how to build better relationships, how to find lasting love through inner healing, then head to my website, CoachKateDeRocher.com, fill out my coaching application, and we'll set up a call. I would love to come alongside you in this journey. I would love to help you spot these behaviors and red flags more easily so you can spare your own heart from more hurt. I went through that time and time again. I missed red flags. I justified red flags. I accepted and even attracted red flags. And each time I did, it left me feeling heartbroken and like a shell of myself. And I don't want to see that for you. So please fill out my coaching application, reach out to me online, and I would love to just teach you these things to help you continue to learn them so you can, like I said, date better and build lasting, healthy connections. Thank you all for tuning in. I had fun during this episode. It felt a little spicy, so it was really fun for me. There's a lot more red flags and behaviors that I could share, but those are kind of the 5 key ones to start with. And then you will see more and more with time from there too. So pay attention. I hope this helps. Please rate, like, subscribe this podcast episode so I can get it out to more people. Please share it with a friend who's maybe dating somebody who you know she shouldn't be dating. Send it to her. I hope that this helps you pay more attention and become more aware in your dating situations. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you here next time on Wildly Capable with Kate.